went to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people.
Go.
Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of the Peasants Perspective. Carleets, good morning, everyone. Peasants Perspective, good morning, cake eaters.
Sorry.
Let them eat cake. That is one of the most iconic things ever said by an elite. All right, so big deal this weekend. There was a huge margin call on silver.
Oh, no.
And it broke one of the big banks. So they're not saying which bank. Apparently this is coming from silvertrade.com. They do silver news and stuff like that. Did a bullion bank just buy 429 million in silver J minor ETF calls after receiving a margin call on its naked short position? 17 non-US banks were net short on COMEX contracts. Anyways, I don't know how to read all these different charts. Not exactly sure what data I'm looking at here, but pretty big deal. So apparently one of these big banks that's heavily invested in silver can't make its cash delivery for paper silver.
Dang it.
So apparently all these big silver warehouses are all set up in trusts. And one of the terms of the trust is that when it comes to paper, so if you've got your silver invested in paper, they can just pay a fixed rate. They don't have to pay whatever the market rate is, which is like, why would you ever buy paper? So interesting things happening in the silver market.
Well, the more you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I want to play this little clip here. This is, I can't remember this guy's name. What's his name? Andrew Clavin? No, it's not Andrew Clavin. He's on Daily. What's his name?
Michael.
Is it Michael?
It's Michael's.
Michael Knowles. Yes,
Yes.
Michael Knowles. Okay, so Michael Knowles had this young man on, and I've seen his face before. I don't know, some type of influencer.
I have no idea who
Not
he
my
is.
generation, right? The caption here is the boomers have no idea what's coming for them. The Zoomerwaffen are real, and they're going to burn it all down. Kiss your 401ks, multiple homes, pensions, and Social Security. Goodbye. Day of the pillow will seem like a merciful option. Here, I'm here for it. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So Zoomerwaffen refers to, there's the Atomawaffen, which is like a far right group. One time I was in prison. And there's these Vice episodes, right? And they do like, MS-13 gang episodes, and they do, anyways, one of them was on Atomawaffen, which is this far right gang. And there's this one guy that was super extreme online, death threats constantly, recruiting people to basically be an accelerationist and a terrorist.
Oh,
and he ends up getting caught. One of his roommates snitches on him because he's like, today's the day I'm going to do it. And the roommate's like, I think he's really serious about this kind of thing. So anyways, they catch him en route to a nuclear power plant in Florida with a like Ford Explorer full of guns and bombs. And we're talking enough to make an impact, right? Catches him with all of this stuff.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there watching this with this guy from Kansas, one of my prison friends, and we're watching this episode. All of a sudden it gets to the end, and it's like, and then he went to trial and he got 5 years in prison.
What?
Over to me, and I'm like, 5 years?
5
The guy had like
years.
C4 in his car. Like he wasn't even inspired by the FBI. Like this isn't even an entrapment story.
This is like a real dude.
This is like a real dude that his roommate was like, hey, I think he's going to go bomb a nuclear facility today, and I have an Xbox tournament coming up.
And then they're like,
yeah, 5 years.
don't do that again.
5 years, nonviolent offense. So he'll do about 3 of it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the Zoomerwaffen refers to this young Zoomer generation. The Zoomers are the ones that were basically during COVID, they had to do school on Zoom. Okay. So this is the Zoomer generation. And the young white element of it is often called Zoomerwaffen. Okay. So this is important because this is what we have coming. When I say the buses will be free, this is what we're up against, boomers and people who own property and have some resources. You're facing down a generation that doesn't believe that you earned it, for one, and B, feels like they deserve a piece of it.
This next election cycle, who's going to win? It's going to be Gavin Newsom against JD Vance, because JD Vance is subhuman and Gavin Newsom mugs.
JD Vance is subhuman?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
He's got a very short total facial width to height ratio. He's obese, very recessed side profile, whereas Newsom is like 6'3" Chad.
So JD's very tall. JD's got it.
Okay, so I'm going to break this down because this is a longer clip, but we have to understand the different elements of this. The younger generation, we've been taught now for a couple generations that you can't attack someone's immutable characteristics, the color of their skin, or things like that. But what you can attack is their fat, their athletic prowess, their hair, things that they can change. Okay. So I just heard my son say this yesterday. He's like, well, that's suboptimal. Right? There's this body hacking mentality. Like you can change your body. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when you're faced with not a lot of economic opportunity, right? You're not going to get the girls in the Lamborghinis with a beer gut eating fast food with some good business plan. How are you going to do it? You're going to work out. You're going to have a 6-pack. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And you're also going to adopt like the mental crazed of these chicks that think they have to get super skinny and they get bulimic and
that goes that direction too. I mean, you know, we're going to see right now the focus is on.
I mean, this guy already seems extreme to me.
The younger generations reject the Ozempic, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, you guys will take Ozempic. We're not. We're going to stay fit. This is part of the whole Maha movement. This is a big thing with the younger generation, like the younger crowd. Okay. Aesthetics. And so you hear a lot of this talk, the superior male, biohacking, body hacking, supplementation. This is the Joe Rogan generation kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, still, I mean,
6'3".
Gavin Newsom obviously mogs him to death.
So you're a Newsom head. You prefer Newsom to the vice president.
I'm just telling you who's going to win.
Do you prefer him though?
Honestly, it's hard to say, but Newsom being that much more of a mogger and like having a president who's like fat and especially that young.
You think I don't think he's fat.
I would say
he's a bigger guy for sure.
It's just embarrassing. Like, how are you fat and you expect to like lead a country? You can't even be in shape, you know?
I was talking about JD Vance, the Marine.
Yeah, okay.
But it's the memes. So it's the memes that JD Vance, like the fat with the curly hair.
This dipshit kid, it just needs to like gain 10 years. He'll be as fat ass as just like he'll be fatter than JD. 10 years,
maybe, but he still won't own a house, and he'll still be pissed about it.
Okay.
So let's say you got a vote. It's 2028.
I'm voting for Gavin Newsom.
You're voting for Gavin Newsom.
You can't be that. You can't be that subhuman.
So hold on. You got. All right. Well, this actually is up a thread with the whole conversation because you look at these two candidates. You have Gavin Newsom, worst governor in the country. I think we would all agree. Destroyed his state, let its main city burn to the ground because of his incompetence. Is a personal, complete derelict, liar, degenerate. But he is good looking. I'll grant you that he's good looking. Yep. And kind of looks like Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Hey. And then you have this vice president to President Trump, the transformative right-wing president in our lifetimes. Who do you support Trump or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got this vice president handpicked by Trump, who is extremely intelligent, very right-wing. I think he's a pretty good-looking guy. I don't know. Maybe I guess you disagree. But he's all these things, checks all these boxes, would have all these great policies. And regardless, you're going to pick the pro-mass migrant, pro-trans, pro-murder the babies, pro-burn the cities to the ground, pro-BLM Democrat because he's skinnier than the conservative vice president.
100 times over. JD Vance, would he be a better candidate and probably closer to me in terms of policy than Gavin Newsom? Yes, but he's just not going to be good enough to be deserving. I think the right.
Here's
I'm beflummoxed.
You should be. This is when you look at American politics, and this is my contention, right? Okay, let's look over the horizon just a little bit. Trump fixes the election systems. No more Dominion systems. No more hacking, paper counting, day of.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
There's an assumption, the boomers, right, that they've been a big voting bloc. Guess what? Every day there's less and less boomers. And every day one more of these guys turns 18, and there's more of them than there are boomers. Does that make sense?
I 100% understand that.
You cannot outvote indoctrination, an indoctrinated society. You cannot outvote a society where the vast majority feel like the economy has outpaced them and there's no spot for them inside of it. These are people that, on one hand, admire Elon Musk, but, swallowed some of my own phlegm there. On one hand, they admire Elon Musk, but when they hear him talking about robotics and factories with robots, there's not a job for me there. They didn't have a high school course on how to run the Optimus robot. Like, it's a technology that's past college for me that isn't even a job for me. Do you see what I'm saying? And so this is a generation that's looking at the world going, there's not a spot for me in here. You've spent a generation telling me that white men are bad. Okay, well, great. Trump's fixed some of those policies. Okay, but do I have 10 or 15 years to wait around for wages to catch up with home prices? Do you see what I'm saying? They're looking at this abyss. And then we're just like, but the policies line up.
I know, but we just listened to this kid say, I really, really like the red one. The red one is the one I want. I want the red one. I'm buying the blue one. Okay. It's like, what the frick? Let's
find out why they're done buying the red one.
Has kind of let down the voters for the longest time. So I think I don't really think that right wingers should just give support to these jesters who continue to underdeliver on their promises. Just let the Democrats win. That's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of just like why I don't support Vance as a voter. But
so you're saying no, they shouldn't vote for any Republican. The right wingers should not vote for the Republican.
Not until the right actually wants to do the things that they're promising.
So is there a candidate you would prefer? Okay. I assume you don't actually want to vote for Newsom. Maybe you do. Maybe you are a Democrat. No. Okay. So then who's a right winger you want to vote for? Or maybe there isn't one.
No, yeah, there really isn't one. It's
kind of doomer, isn't it? So now you're saying if you're a real hardcore Giga Chad right winger, you should let the Democrats rape your country.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to. Like, that's the accelerationist mentality, because like, look, what is the right going to do other than just like a small win here and like, maybe you overturn Roe v. Wade on like a federal level, but abortion is still allowed. Like state to state. So it's like, it really doesn't do anything. It's like, if these people are just going to like continue.
Maybe you deport 2 million people, maybe.
Okay, but there's still 28 million more, right? So until these people actually want to make changes that matter, right?
I think 2 million people matters. I think.
Does it in a country of how many people? Like, what are we?
330 million or so.
Exactly. So it's like, we're not really making any progress here. So for the RNC to just demand voters to continue to show up, for what, really? It's just...
There's a concept, right? The book, The Fourth Turning. When you get to the fourth turning, when it says the young generation will be willing to do an incredible amount of violence.
Yeah, he's saying, go ahead and let it burn down instead of having incremental success.
But that's the point. That's what I'm saying. This Zoomerwaffen group, this young generation, they're not facing the challenges that any generation before them have faced. They're facing an abyss.
Well, I did hear him say, and I did feel, when he was talking about, well, which Republican would you vote for? And he's like, oh, none of them. Well, I'm kind of with him there.
See, that's the thing. Okay, imagine him. I don't know how old he is, 19, 20?
Sure.
4 years, 20 million plus people came across the border. Okay, great. You've removed 2 in a year. Okay, so in 4 years, you'll have removed 8. You still have missed 12
I know, but the argument that it sounded like he was making was, we're not making enough progress in the Republican camp, so let's go ahead and let the Democrats not make any progress.
And this, like, what there the is frick? An entire political philosophy out there that is no matter what, it's called the accelerationists. There's a big chunk of people that fit into this category. Antifa, Boogaloo Boys, many, many groups. These are many of the militia groups are out there. They're like, we can't fight the government, but what it can do is starve.
So
They want it to burn down. They
in my
want it
world-
to collapse. They want, you see what I'm saying?
yes, I do. And in my world, I would say that I would equivalent this with people inside the church or even outside the church that are like, we need Jesus. And let's make sure he gets here quick.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, whoa, hold on, people. That's not the point.
Yeah. So that's they're looking for massive action, right? They need a massive correction. You want us to, keep doing the flag thing and keep.
I think I understand with them. I think I understand them now. I just don't agree with them.
Sure.
That's the cope, right? That's what I'm simply advocating for until like the policies change and like the rhetoric is a little better.
How would the policies change? This is what I'm confused about is, had a Democrat won, it just used this past year, had a Democrat won, it just used this past year, had a Democrat won, we would get, just judging by Biden's policies, it was Biden's vice president who was running, you would add 3 million illegal aliens to the country. Because Trump won, not only do you not add 3 million, you lose 2 million. So now you have a net change of 5 million potential foreigners who would be in the United States over the course of 1 year. And you're saying, yeah, it's not good enough. Sorry,
It's
Brett.
not. It really is not good enough.
So what are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm realizing that society is going one direction, and I'm trying to improve myself as much as possible so that I could succeed financially, so that I can improve my status and improve my quality of life.
But
Fair.
what's very interesting about it is by saying, look, not only am I apathetic, I want the Democrats to win because they're going to be bad, because they're going to screw up the country, and then we'll have a revolution, it'll be good again.
Right.
What's interesting about that to me is it reflects something quite real and I think quite understandable, which is the alienation, especially among young men, especially among young right-wing men from the country, that at a very high levels in popular media and government has told that group of people that they suck for like 30 years. That I totally resonate with. So how widespread do you think that alienation is?
I would say that the reason that I have the success I do is because it's almost in every kid my age who in the same demographic, is people are tired of, being banned on social media. People are tired of
being called toxic.
Right. The government not advocating for them whatsoever. So I would say that it's probably more common than not.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist, that's sitting down at any kind of graduation point, high school or college, and going, okay, what does it cost to live? If I'm graduating high school and I want to move out, what's an apartment? Oh, can't do that. Right. But my dad did it when he was a kid, right? You start to do that. My kids do this all the time. Well, Dad, how did you guys pull this off? It's like, well, things were one way, and in a short period of time, things have changed. You know what I mean?
Mostly the value of a dollar went way down
in a pretty rapid fashion, right? And then on top of that, I'm like, yeah, and now we're at another verge of an era, right? The robotics era, or whatever you want to call this, the AI era. Things are going to look very different 10 years from now. So I don't know. Every career path has to be reassessed. If you're wanting to do law or legal, or if you're wanting to do engineering or like architecture, all of a sudden, how much do you need to know math? Or
I don't know. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, there were a lot of attorneys flipping burgers.
Yeah. And there still are today.
Yeah.
So the reason I wanted to play that video is I want people to understand, as peasants, right? Let's look over the horizon a little bit. Let's best case scenario some things. The elections get fixed, but we end up with Gavin Newsom. But because people really voted for it? Well, because, there very well could be a very large voting block that's like, throw it away. Literally, we're done voting for the lesser of two evils. Let's see where the evil takes us. Let's see if we can just blow this thing up and take it apart. And at the same time, amongst the boomer class, there's this narrative that's been working around there that Donald Trump has captured the Supreme Court.
The only problem with that theory of let it burn down is this isn't a game. You don't get to like respawn.
Unfortunately, the communists do want to burn it down. Right.
Yeah.
So, when you say we don't get to just respawn, the communists has figured out that they do get to respawn. If they can burn down a government and change its governing system, guess who's always there to count the votes that first time democracy comes back, right? It's the communists. And so they have an actual game plan. Now, liberty lovers, we don't really have a game plan because we're like, kill all the enemies and let's go back to our farms, right?
Yeah.
But communists do have a game plan. They're like, yes, help us kill all the enemies, go back to your farms, and then you can deliver 2 bushels a day. Right? Okay, so this is this narrative that's out there that the Supreme Court is loyal to Trump or disloyal to Trump, right? Depending on who what algorithm's talking to you. If you're Republican, anytime the Supreme Court does something against Trump, the Supreme Court's anti-Trump. And if you're on the left, every time they support a constitutional decision, they're like, they're in it for Trump. But at the end of the day, it discredits the Supreme Court. So you talk about our institutions failing and people having less and less faith in them. The Supreme Court's a big one, right? Once we start ignoring Supreme Court orders, things go downhill pretty quick.
Very good narrative that the Supreme Court is corrupt. I mean, we saw that emerge in the wake of the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. And now we see it that they're in the tank for Trump. Not only is that narrative over-reported, it is patently false, and it is dangerous for the institution and the public's faith and confidence in the rule of law. This is a conservative Supreme Court. It has been a conservative Supreme Court for 20 years. People can disagree and do disagree with their opinions, but it's profoundly wrong to call it or say corruption where there, in fact, is none. What's underreported is any understanding of what this court's been doing for the past 20 years, its views of its role vis-a-vis the other branches, how it sees the law, how it's trying in its focus to restore some kind of accountability in our constitutional structure. Again, this is a court that is functional. It is consistent. They are 9 justices. They don't necessarily see the Constitution the same way by any means, or how to interpret federal law. They're in a struggle over the proper way to interpret the Constitution, but that is as it should be. And I think as we approach our 250th anniversary of this country, it's important to think about the court and the rule of law as the justices are doing, especially if we hope to keep democracy intact.
That's a big
I can agree with that. I can agree that, the court has made some really monumental decisions.
Yeah.
It did overturn Roe versus Wade, sent it back to the states. One of the things that young man mentioned earlier in the recording was he talked about, you overturn Roe v. Wade, but it just goes back to the states and there's still abortion. Did you know there's more abortions happening now than pre-overturning Roe versus Wade?
No.
Yeah.
It's not something I track.
Apparently, the federal restrictions were holding a couple of the states back, right? Like California and Illinois and New York. The federal rules were actually keeping them from having like 9-month abortions, which as soon as the federal rules went away, all these state rules kicked in. And in some cases, it's even more available.
It's funny how it was sold.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a lot more ability at the state level to restrict abortion significantly. Sure. So the fight is now where it needs to be, but the fight has to continue on. But what he's saying there is like, our generation just wants results, right? We just want to see, okay, we're against abortion, right? Then why is there more abortion than ever? This doesn't line up. Government's corrupt. Hey, I just want to buy a house. I got my college degree. I studied hard. I was a 4.0 student. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't afford them here.
Well, the apathy that Michael Knowles was talking about is the reason. And he's happy to sit on his ass and just say, I'm not going to do anything. And that is the problem.
Yeah. And if, many people have said, Carlit's posts over here in the chat, if Trump doesn't deliver some huge invisible victories soon, we're screwed in the midterms and in 2028. Yeah, Trump has delivered a lot of victories. It is completely unfair to say that he hasn't. I mean, it's been one of the most impactful first years of a presidency in our lifetimes, period.
Right. And I worry that it won't be enough.
It won't be enough because there's some high profile things. The Epstein file thing's been a complete, right?
Yeah.
That's been a disaster.
Agreed.
Holding Comey and others accountable, that's also been a disaster.
Agree.
And a lot of that has to do with, again, what this young man said was, why would I vote for Republicans? Because here we do have a champion, Donald Trump, who he supports. Mr. Alpha Male stands up after getting shot in the head, fight, fight, fight. Yeah, that's my Giga Chat, right? That's the guy that will take on Gavin.
But if Trump does not deliver, and it's possible that he won't deliver, I don't think that's a good enough reason to vote Democrat.
Well, for you and I, but we're going to have to campaign to these young kids and be like, we need one more cycle. But here's why. He's like, I don't see any Republican leaders. Why? Because we have our man, we have our Giga Chad in office, Donald Trump, but yet he can't get the people in place he needs to get in place to hold people accountable.
As U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey after the courts disqualified her. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, she's not disqualified. She's got a blue slip thing that's horrible. It's a horrible thing. It makes it impossible to appoint a judge or a U.S. attorney, and it's a shame. And the Republicans should be ashamed of themselves that they allow this to go on, because I can't appoint a U.S. attorney that's not a Democrat. Because they put a block on it. So if you appoint in Virginia or in New Jersey or in California a U.S. attorney or a judge, I mean, a judge situation is ridiculous. The only people that you can get by are Democrats, because they will put a hold on it. If I put up George Washington and Abraham Lincoln to be U.S. attorney in New Jersey or to be U.S. attorney in Virginia, we have Democrat senators. They will not approve them. And this is a gentleman's agreement that's lasted for too long. And it doesn't make it, especially in light of what's going on today. It means you can't appoint a Republican U.S. attorney. And we don't play the same game with them. But they do. And I hope that somebody speaks to Senator Grassley about doing something about the blue slip, because I'm telling you, John, I put up great people, top people, highest education, the best lawyers to be like U.S. attorney, and both senators. It only takes one, but if they're Democrat senators, they say we're not going to approve it. I had a couple of them say, "Why don't you appoint Democrats?" All because Senator Grassley, with his blue slip stuff, will not let anybody go by. By the way, the Democrats have violated the blue slip provision on numerous occasions, but we don't do it. And what it means is, I guess I just have to keep appointing people for 3 months and then just appoint another one. And it's a very sad situation. We're losing a lot of great people.
And that's what the Republicans are doing. We have the House, we have the Senate, we have the Supreme Court, we have the presidency, and we can't get election fraud voted through. We can't get any kind of substantial immigration reform. Sure, Trump can close the border with what he's got, but the next president can come in here and undo all that if they don't put it in law, right? There's like a thing, this is the least productive House of Representatives since the founding generation. You know what I mean? Like when they were starting with, United States Code 1, Section 1. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the least productive Congress we've had. I think like 6 bills went to Donald Trump's desk. Obviously the big, beautiful bill, the way they do it is they throw it all into one bill. But geez, that's a Republican problem. And that's going to weigh on J.D. Vance. Why would I vote for more establishment? Oh, he's got great debate skills. He's, he is tall. He's not fat. But the memes, they still are going to run with that curly-haired chubby kid meme, and that's the J.D. Vance that these kids think exists, right? The thing with Donald Trump is...
I don't think I've seen that.
Huh?
I don't think I've seen that meme.
You haven't seen the J.D. Vance memes?
I don't think so.
Oh, here. It's worth... This is the image that the younger generation has of J.D. Vance. Let's see, I need to do... Meme. This is the J.D. Vance meme. So he even did it. So this is the meme of J.D. Vance.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, and he did it with him. With himself.
Brother.
So it's the most iconic memes of J.D. Vance. See, they always put him as kind of a...
You could do this to anybody.
Sure. These
I believe I can fly.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you.
What? So you don't know this, but J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom have been having a back and forth. But, here's J.D. He went out and trained with the Navy SEALs. They'll turn it into this, right? And J.D. Vance post fixed it, right? So, again, is this helping him? Like for boomers, it's like, oh, that's so cute. But for young kids, they're like, why are you self-deprecating like that? That's not optimal. That's suboptimal. All right. One of the things I've said before on the show, which I've been really bad at doing lately, is remember the names, right? Key people, key positions. When you remember these names, when they pop up in different stories, you're like, oh, that's interesting. So here's James Comey. He's giving an interview talking about getting the FBI out into the media, right? To try to create a narrative about, inform the public on who the FBI is. And if you turn on CBS or ABC, I think there's a couple shows now like FBI Atlanta, FBI whatever, right?
Sure.
And so
they're all PR campaigns.
He worked with a gentleman named Michael Wolff. Who's Michael Wolff? Michael Wolff is the guy that came out in all the Epstein files, that was emailing Epstein, and he was coordinating with Epstein, trying to pull Trump information out from him. And Epstein had to say, I don't have anything on Trump. I have all this other stuff, right? So Michael Wolff was interacting with Epstein post conviction for being a child sex offender, and was a huge part of these Epstein files and the collaboration, bringing in other politicians. So listen to James Comey talking to Michael Wolff.
I did a strange thing at the FBI. I worked very hard to try and get people like Dick Wolf to produce TV shows about the FBI, because I saw that as another way of showing.
Take all that back. It's Dick Wolf, not Michael Wolff.
The work to the American people. It turns out that paid off. I remember meeting with him and saying, why do I turn on the TV and see NCIS all the time? They're a fine organization, but there's like 8 people who work at it, NCIS. And now I turn on the TV and I got FBI all over the place. That's a good thing in the main. It's incomplete. Your work is much more reality-based, but it helps to show an organization to the American people that matters. I did a strange thing at the FBI.
Became the #1 show on TV, and there's a couple variations of it, right? That the amount of attorneys at law school like tripled.
That's kind of like Air Force applicants after Top Gun.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly like everybody wants to be a fighter pilot. Yeah. That's exactly what they're doing. I remember when the previews for this FBI series came out, and I was like, no, the FBI sucks. So I guess they're going to be out there, they're spending more time on propaganda than anything else. It's really interesting to hear.
They're going to make it sexy like Miami Vice.
I worked really hard. Now, instead of going out and getting crime like the FBI should be doing, which in fairness, they did a lot this year, all the surging into the big cities. Have you seen the crime stats this year? It's like a 17% reduction in murder, like huge reductions, like all across the board. That's awesome. Unfortunately, we live in a world where it's like, are they manipulating the numbers like the last administration did? They were reducing crime as well. Oh, who knows? I guess it's just, how do you feel out there in the streets, right? Seattle doesn't feel a whole lot safer, but I haven't seen any federal presence in Seattle. I don't know that it's been an ice hot spot. I know Tacoma has been a little bit. I don't know. But this is Nick Shirley, who turns out former Mormon missionary, used his missionary skills to go out and do this. He's the one, this last week, he put out a 42-minute special walking around all these daycare and Medicaid centers in Minnesota, and was accosted by people just trying to get his kid enrolled, that kind of stuff. And he went out, and in one day he went to like 50 of these centers, and then still had time to make it to a congressional meeting in Minnesota where they were talking about all this fraud. And he's like, I got evidence right here. No, well, we don't know that it's happening. No, we do. So he was on Fox News, and he's like, listen, stuff's got to start happening here.
Nick, when I was your age, I used to watch all the local news stations, and every local news operation had a roving reporter who would go around and find waste, fraud, and abuse. Are there local reporters like that in your area? And why do you think they weren't doing the work that you did?
I don't know. They're scared of being called nowadays, because it's Somalians that are committing this fraud. People are scared to be called Islamophobic, racist, in which has nothing to do with what's going on, because fraud is fraud. It doesn't matter if it's a black person, white person, Asian person, Mexican. Fraud is fraud. And we work too hard simply just to be paying taxes and enabling fraud to be happening.
Yeah, and his little expose featured a lot of that. We're going to play a clip from that in a little bit. Tom Emmer from Minnesota who's a senator there, is talking about this. This has been known for a while, this fraud that's been going on in the Somali community. And just nobody's been willing to do anything about it.
Well, it's amazing to me that a 23-year-old journalist, a YouTuber, who's now got over 80 million views on this thing, found more in a matter of hours than Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, our attorney general, have found in 7 years, Mike. I got to tell you, we've known in Minnesota about the daycare fraud for a decade. Keith Ellison is our current attorney general. His predecessor, Lori Swanson, was actually investigating the daycare fraud and prosecuting back in 2017.
Which in the background here, you see Leering Center. So there's another clip where he went to another place that had a misspelled word. And I've actually seen this here locally. Best of best. Have you seen that down in downtown Bremerton, right across from the health department or right near the health department? So there's a teriyaki restaurant that says best of best. And it's always been this joke, you know, they ordered the sign from another like Vietnamese company or something. And they're like, best of best. They know what you mean. No need that. I save you money. No need that. Best of best.
That's like a joke that I heard from I think it was Brian Regan. It's got a truck that's got a sign on the side that says, "We speak English, we delivery."
We delivery. Yeah. So I think with this Leering Center, it's like you need to investigate the sign company too, because I have a feeling that they're not legitimate either. Even their spell checker didn't catch that.
In 18. As soon as Ellison became the attorney general and Walz became the governor, all of that stopped. And now you see the result. Billions of dollars, it has been alleged that they have fraudulently built out of Minnesota. Well, it's amazing to me that a 23-year-old journalist, a YouTuber.
The total is about $9 billion confirmed as outright fraud, suspected up to $24 billion.
Ouch.
Ponyboy says even Dave Chappelle hates Trump. He said on his new stand-up that he hated it when he heard Trump came to his hometown, D.C. He then said, but you know it looks good, it looks clean. I can't argue with the results. Senator Johnson from Wisconsin, next door to Minnesota, is starting to open investigations into this.
Well, first of all, we need to put all kinds of pressure on the state agencies to give us their records. Now, I'm chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. This will be a primary focus of ours. We're already reaching out to Nick Shirley and David and other people who can provide testimony for this. But we also need documents. So, you know, these agency heads who funnel the federal money to the state agencies, they have to demand that the state agencies are transparent. And unfortunately, particularly in Democrat-controlled states, they're not. They're refusing to turn over those records. I've got subpoena power. I will use that subpoena power to obtain these records because we have to get to the bottom of this. Understand, Somalis have just been in this country a few years. They're amateurs when it comes to fleecing the federal government. And let's face it, the federal government is probably the easiest consumer, the easiest payer to fleece, and states do it time and time again. So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. And what happens when these Democrat states don't turn over their documents? What would you call that, Ron? What would be the dictionary definition of that?
I'm not sure what you call that. I'm not sure, really.
Insurrection? If we see Marines going into these places and gathering documents, I doubt it.
No.
Okay. This is the gentleman that Nick Shirley went around with. He's the one who's really done a lot of the legwork to uncover this fraud. This is him standing outside of the Minnesota Capitol building talking about that.
Massive fraud is going on here in the state of Minnesota, especially in Minneapolis. Explain to me what's going on with the daycares.
So one of the things that I've noticed is there's an exceptional number of child care centers that are set up mostly in Minneapolis, but also in St. Paul. And I said, wow, how many kids are there in the Twin Cities? Some of them are by my office, and I would watch, and I said, well, there aren't any kids there. And I go to another one, there aren't any kids there, and I'd see just some Somali guys outside smoking cigarettes. So I stopped at one of them, and I said, hey, I'm just wondering, I've got a grandson who's looking for childcare, and I wonder if this might be a good facility. And they said, no, we're all full. And they had the door open, and I looked, and there were no kids. There was like a couch and a table with a couple chairs. And I said, well, are the kids out back playing, or what kind of place is this? And the guy said, you go. And he almost pushed me out the door, and then he followed me down the street to my car. And that's when I said, wait a minute, there's something going on here. And that's got to be maybe 5 years ago. This fraud is so massive. When the dust settles on this, it's going to be found to be the largest fraud in the history of the country and probably the world. It's that big.
Whoa.
The ones that I've gotten data.
And I think these guys are ignoring California.
on, they average about $2.5 million a year. And a lot of them will say they have anywhere from 80 to 120 children. I've been to literally 40 or 50 of these childcare, and there never has been a single child at any one of them ever. Morning, afternoon, evening. Some of them say they're open till 10 o'clock at night. I go there in the morning, I go there in the afternoon, I go there at 9 o'clock at night. Nobody. There are no kids there ever.
None. And now they've got video footage of all of this, right? Not only do they have the paperwork to back up, but they have video footage. Where's the government been? You talk about the Zoomer-Waffen crowd. They're looking at it going, yeah, I'm not taking any jobs that pay into any type of programs. I don't want to pay any of those taxes. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just going to improve myself.
If you're a business owner, this is unbelievable.
And run my corner of Mad Max USA.
Right. What I was going to say is, if you're a business owner, this is unbelievable because the government is up your ass every day.
Apparently not in Minnesota.
Right.
Ponyboy says, what's weird is on that Minnesota scandals, that person in the legislature that he got killed that wanted to look into fraud. Now they're saying these two things are likely connected. Yeah. So there was the former state chairman, or was the former Speaker of the House in Minnesota. She was just a state rep at that point. Maybe she was a senator. But she was gunned down by someone that Tim Walz had appointed to some, board position. And after he was arrested, he wrote a note telling Kash Patel that Tim Walz had hired him to kill this person and kill Amy Klobuchar so Tim Walz could get her Senate seat. And it kind of had this whole thing, and it was just discredited, right? But in hindsight, maybe some of that stuff we should look back at. Senator Kelly Loeffler, former senator, appointed senator from Georgia, who totally bailed on Donald Trump on the night of January 6th. The Small Business Administration, this is breaking from Benny Johnson. The Small Business Administration drops the hammer on the Somali fraud, cuts off all Minnesota. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler tells me she is disgusted and sickened by Nick Shirley's expose of Somali small business fraud and is taking immediate action. SBA is cutting off and clawing back all SBA grants to Minnesota effective immediately. She says this is due to Tim Walz's refusal to enforce laws governing Somali businesses and the governor's allowance and facilitation of the fraud. Loeffler tells me the SBA was able to uncover $1 billion of fraud within days of investigating Minnesota. She notes the Trump administration will focus on state officials who built an industrial-scale crime ring to rip off hardworking Americans. Melissa Hortman was that lady's name. The scoop of the international scam is still unknown, likely in the billions. Pending further review, SBA is freezing all grant funding to the state in order to stop the rampant waste of taxpayer dollars and uncover the full depth of the fraud. This is how Somali fraud is crippling opportunity for native law-abiding Minnesotans. Yeah. And it's been going on. This is 2023. This was an autism center that another independent journalist went to go check out.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, do you guys have openings?
Like for the center specific?
Yeah, for the autism center?
Yes, we do actually. We don't have a wait list. We're just interested on taking a look at the center.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Do you have people here at this time?
Currently right now at the time, just not right now because it's Monday and most of our kids are at school.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this will kind of just be the playroom. We do ages from 2 to 21. That will be our bathroom. So we do
2 to 21. Okay.
Then our kitchen, we feed the kids, we provide them with food as well as snacks. And then we have the curtains that the kids, we just separated them with like cubicles in their own space and get one-on-one sessions with behavioral therapists as well.
Okay. How many do you take at a time, or how many do you have?
We currently have, these are all in our clients right now at the moment. We do have a couple of 3 to the line, but they're just not on our wall. But
so like 10 or?
Yeah, probably like 10.
Is it after school then they just come here?
Yeah, most of them come after school or they do like in-home services. Okay, it's just something that we also provide as well.
Okay. You guys been here for a while? I just noticed it. So
yeah, we've been here for a minute. Pretty new as well.
And these are the staff members?
Yeah, the staff members. Yeah. I think it's been like already 3 years almost. So
imagine there can't be this many staff members if there's only 10.
Yeah, I mean there's still more. Yeah, we're still missing all of our like in-home training staff members, but yeah, these are currently the people that just talked to my boss about.
So you need to be on one of those programs.
Okay.
Say what?
She wants to pay for it.
Who wants to pay for it?
She wants to put her kid here.
Okay.
To look at that, we also primarily from this part, we just on this part of the building, if that makes sense. But
okay. Well, thank you for showing your own. Appreciate it. It looks like you have your information online as well, right?
Yes, definitely take a look at that. We also primarily accept MA assistance and UCare as well here.
Okay. Can you also pay cash kind of thing, or is it?
I think it's like mostly insurance based. That is something that I would have to talk to my boss about.
So you need to be on one of those programs for.
Yes. I can grab your phone number and maybe I can give you a call back.
Okay.
Basically, we don't take cash.
What?
We don't take cash. We only take insurance. Now, this is Pramila Jayapal from Washington State. She's one of our representatives here out of the Seattle area. And this was a post she put out October 15th, 2021. Investments in childcare, a pathway to citizenship for immigrants, Medicare expansion, historic climate action, and much more. Millions of working people stand to benefit from the Build Back Better agenda. Maybe that's why it's so popular. And Matt Vance says, literally, all of this is Democrat fraud. All of it. My eyes have been open and I cannot unsee it. It was never about working people. It was all a massive lie. Evil lie. So Matt Van Swole's background, he's just an internet dad. He's just one of these guys that just one day was like, I got to start posting about this stuff. Like, I don't know that he does a whole lot other than just post. Okay, so this is from his Nick Shirley's 42-minute piece, and this is when they're approaching the Leering Center. Now, this whole thing is just like kind of on the edge of your seat when you watch it, because he's going from place to place to place. And so we've seen this Leering Center before, but I want to point something out in here. And this again goes to this concept of we cannot outvote an indoctrinated society. If we can't all agree what crime is and what fraud is and what illegal means, then we're going to have a hard time, taking this place back, so to speak.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now. From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Leering Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare. So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They spelled learning wrong. How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up.
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up. We have ice.
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children?
Don't open up.
And getting $4 million over the $4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away.
What do you think about that? Are you in favor?
Away.
Are you in favor of that?
Go away. You're not welcome here. Shame on you.
Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally, fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up.
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are. You don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up. It's ice.
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare center.
99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding.
Look at her face.
You know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there? Where? Yeah, it's right there. It's a child. You've never seen daycare.
I don't see anybody here.
We're going to educate you on something. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
99 children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None, not at all. None.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know, where are the kids?
Right.
Where are the children?
I don't see them. I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like that.
Never seen a child here.
And so you've never seen a child here for 8 years?
Nope, not at all.
And how does that make you feel, knowing that this place is receiving $1.9 million?
Disgusting. I mean, what the hell? They stealing the money. That's a federal grant too. That's, if they get caught for that's a federal offense.
Yeah, but they don't enforce.
Wow, he figured that out pretty quick.
Yeah, that was quick. So yet here we go. So this is now John Cameron, Phil J. Sixer posted this from Ari Hoffman. So where Ari Hoffman says this, he says, why were child and adult care centers in Minnesota maxing out donations to a Somali candidate in Washington State? Yes. So the Sunshine Child Care Center Inc., MS Minnesota, MN Best Child Care Center Inc., Adult Care LLC, maxing out to Lucky Child Care Center, Helping Hands Senior Care, maxing out donations. This is the right now the mentality of these people. This is Portland. This is an ICE protest that was following around the officers and doing the whole, I'm a local suburban bomb and I don't like ICE in my neighborhood, right? Well, she's going to get the long arm of the law because they nabbed her, grabbed her ID, and they're like referring it over for prosecution. I want you guys to watch this. It's 2 minutes here. This is, again, we cannot vote our way out of an indoctrinated society. Okay, we are not going to be able to vote our way out when society starts doing this.
Turn on lights. Turn on lights. Hey, wait. Turn on lights. You're impeding with the federal investigation. We have your own camera. We actually have news reporters with us in vehicle. Your case will be referred over to Homeland Security investigation for prosecution. You will be arrested. This is your last and final warning. Hold on a second, guys. Give me your license, please. I'm going to once again tell you, you have cases in danger. Put your vehicle and park and shut it off, please. I understand, but you are impeding. Look where you are at. You are almost causing an accident. You are surrounded by federal agents. I am the Deputy Field Office Director here, ma'am. Stand by. We're running the name. We're going to refer this case over for enforcement action. Got it?
Now she starts crying. I'm just a mom.
Kylie?
Yes, please.
You turn around and get out of here.
I'm getting out of here.
Here you go. Slow down. Hey.
Yes.
Hey, guys. I got it. I got it.
So they let her
take a deep breath. I want you to pull over right here and go home. Okay?
You have that Zoomerwaffen kid, right? Socioeconomically looks okay. His hair's nice. He's clearly got something going on for himself. Shows up on the Michael Knowles podcast, right? And his opinion apparently matters because it does. Then you see this woman here. I want you to pay attention to this woman's economic situation just purely based off her vehicle. Okay. And where she's living in Portland. So it's expensive to live there. Okay. This group right here is the reason why we're getting Zoomerwaffen.
Take a deep breath.
I'm shaking.
You may leave. Please turn around. I'm going to stop traffic for you. Go. Okay.
I can't hear you. Oh, jeez.
Nice, pretty new modeled Mustang. Is this woman affected by illegal immigration?
I'm having a hard time hearing you, so I'm turning that off. What were you saying?
So, she's driving a pretty new model Mustang, a total like suburban mom, but on the upper scale. Like if you're driving the Mustang, you know what I mean? Little small SUV thing they've got going on there. And that crowd, that same woman that was in Minneapolis saying, ICE is here. It's expensive to live in the inner city. What does she do for work? She's probably lived there a long time, but they've become mentally deluded into thinking immigration is good, into thinking red team bad, blue team good. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see the Zoomerwaffen, they're like, well, it's grandma. She's the problem. So let her have her Democrat. Let her do their thing, and eventually it'll all burn down and we'll replace it. It is scary to consider that, right? It is scary to consider that. Massive action has to take place. Unfortunately, we live in a news cycle. So now the Somalis are in the news cycle. So now ICE is putting their attention to take out the Somalis.
What's the latest you're seeing there in the Buckeye State?
Well, we were able to kick this operation off on December 16th. And with this operation, we've had a lot of success very quickly. Our officers have gone out and truly arrested the worst of the worst. We have arrested gang members, murderers, and rapists. We've arrested people with sex crime charges. We've arrested people with DWI charges. And we've been able to go after these people that have been in this country illegally. They've taken advantage of the system here in Ohio, and we're putting a stop to that, allowing us to go after the worst of the worst who have been embedded themselves in these communities near Columbus, Ohio.
The Columbus mayor is protesting. I want to play a clip from him, and I'll get you to react.
Our police will not be used to carry out these operations. Columbus is already safe without federal intervention. Please take care of one another and know that your community leaders see and support you.
What's your response to him, and is his protest causing you any issues?
Well, look, we will continue to go into cities no matter if the locals want to work with us or not. Sanctuary cities policies, leaders who don't want to work with ICE is not going to deter ICE from doing our job. We want to walk beside law enforcement officers to allow them to go after the worst of the worst, the people that have been wreaking havoc in their communities. Now, if the city of Columbus doesn't work with us, well, that's not going to stop us from going in and removing these criminals who have wreaked havoc on the American people for far too long.
It sounds nice, but is it enough for the Zoomerwaffen?
No.
Right? Because the Zoomerwaffen don't want you to just take out the burglars. That's a given. They want you to actually go after all of these businesses, all the bodegas, all the child care centers, all the Medicaid centers. They want you to go after corrupt politicians. That's the other thing, too. Zoomerwaffens aren't ignorant. They're actually pretty well informed because they get all the short form media from social media. And so they don't have to watch long form news. They don't sit down at 5 p.m. to watch the news like many boomers are accustomed to doing. They get their news on the fly. They get it from the zeitgeist. And they do get really targeted things, right? A little clip is going to open their eyes. Here's something going on in Michigan. I wish more people were aware of it. But sometimes when we talk about back the blue, in my opinion, is oftentimes interpreted by people in government as backing law enforcement, even when they make mistakes. Well, it gets that way in politics, right? Back the politician. You know what I mean? You got to cover each other up. In Michigan, there seems to be a whole lot of elected state officials covering up for each other.
I've spent my career defending the rights of our most vulnerable.
I've always said Attorney General Dana Nessel's actions are contemptible, but now it's official.
And I am not a judge, but this certainly seems like a dereliction of duty with a very vulnerable adult.
After violating not one, but two conflict of interest ethical firewalls,
The motion prevails.
the Michigan House Oversight Committee held her in contempt and issued her office subpoenas for refusing to cooperate. She didn't even bother to show up to the hearing, which had an empty chair with her nameplate. Why? Because one case involves her friend, Tracy Kornak, who's accused of ripping off an old lady while in charge of her finances.
The Attorney General claims that she has no knowledge of this case because of the firewall, and that's why she's not here today. That is a clear lie by our Attorney General.
Emails show Nessel personally intervened, letting Kornak off the hook to continue doing it.
It seems that instead of protecting Mrs. Bird, Dana Nessel was protecting Kornak.
The other case involved wrongdoing by none other than Nessel's wife, Elena McGuire. In that one, Nessel actually called Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to take back a criminal referral, which isn't legal, and Benson agreed to do it.
So the Secretary of State's wife had a criminal referral, and she called the Attorney General to make it go away.
A collusive act. That's one department head calling the other department head saying, hey, I need your department to act the way I want, so potentially my wife doesn't get prosecuted.
This is one Tuesday I'm never going to forget. What happens next? I'll see you on the next Tuesday.
I was telling my wife, I was like, different places are run by different mafias. Like, you've got a Somali mafia, clearly. You have an Italian mafia somewhere out there. I think they used to run New York, right? And you also have the gay mafia. And states like Washington, we're run by the gay mafia, okay? And it looks like Michigan might be run by some conglomeration of the gay mafia and the Islam mafia. Minnesota's clearly being run by the Islam mafia. Anyways, it's or the Somali mafia. That's pretty interesting, right? Going after Minnesota, you've got to get past the governor, Keith Ellis, the attorney general, and other state figures. Michigan's got the same problem. Gretchen, that cabal they've got there, Gretchen Whitmer, Jocelyn Benson, and Dana Nessel. Those three are a cabal. You have the same thing going on in Colorado with Polis and his attorney general. They operate like a mafia. I mean, really, truly. I mean, it's pretty incredible when you look at that and it's like, oh, her spouse had a criminal referral and she just made a phone call, made it go away. What do you got for us, Ron?
Well, I was trying to have something for us, but
no big deal. Okay, we need to jump into a raid, so let's go ahead and do that. Ooh. Ron, you want to throw that up?
Okay.
We got a good crowd to go do the raid. We're going to be raiding Hard Lens Media. Woo. He's over there doing a show, kind of looks like it's a news show, kind of like ours. The headline is Tim Waltz versus Nick Shirley, MTV versus Trump, MAGA, ICE, Epstein, Fallout. So yeah,
I'm not sure what happened.
Raid /
Yeah.
No, raid and then the / You got the / first.
That's the way I have it written down on my notes. Dang it. Raid / pow. Well, I don't know.
What happened?
I did it both ways. I don't know.
We got to get over there because one of the comments there, Jack Acid said, "Not Jews, they only abuse goyim." Maybe try it the other way.
Okay.
Thanks for sticking around, guys, and helping us figure this out. We have to do 2 more this month.
I mean, I don't even know what's going on here.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Did you kill the stream?
I don't know. I have it written down this way in my notes. How? There we go.
Okay, there we go. Cool. So it is that way?
I guess, yeah.
All right, we figured it out. Okay, we're over there in his we're up in his business. Let's see here. Raid. Hello, everybody. Great. Awesome. Yeah, these raids are kind of cool. Okay, so one of the things while you guys are over there raiding, yes, go raid. Raid!
Plunder.
Here. It's working. Okay, so this is what is his name? Adrian Fontes. This is the Arizona Secretary of State. Now,
okay.
Carrie Lake has exposed this guy as having some domestic violence issues at home, having a nasty divorce, but more than anything, he's a cartel lawyer. And his dad is a cartel member. Okay, so this is the Secretary of State down in Arizona. And he is big mad, super upset because Arizona is trying to fix their elections. And one of the things they're trying to fix is get rid of these dadgum mail-in ballots that are everywhere. Now, everybody who knows anything about election security knows the mail-in ballots are like one of the biggest vulnerabilities. It is a major problem. Jimmy Carter, in his little election report he did years ago, mentioned that mail-in ballots were just rife with fraud. So when you hear politicians, secretaries of state especially, talk like this, heads up, these guys are cooking books.
It is rare nowadays that a majority of people agree on anything. But in Arizona, the safety and security and convenience of mail-in voting is something the vast majority agree on, which is why nearly 80% of Arizona voters opt in to receive a ballot by mail.
Why do I have a feeling that's an automatic opt-in? Like when you register, you're automatically opted.
Right. Voting rights advocates have long warned that the threat hurled at mail-in ballots would turn into policy, and they were right. Right here at home, we've seen a slow chipping away at the early voting list. And now there's a proposal that would completely gut the early voting list, ending mail-in voting as we know it in Arizona and forcing you to stand in long lines. Democracy is not made more secure when you raise obstacles to make participation more difficult. The beauty of American democracy is that it levels the playing field. Every eligible voter is given one vote that holds the same weight as everyone else. Any attempt to gut mail-in voting or curb early voting options is an easy tell. Those who fear greater participation are not interested in security as much as they are interested in power.
Is that really
Our democracy
nice?
is stronger than these attempts to deny voters access to the ballot box. But these policies and these threats against voting by mail must be rejected by legislators and elections officials alike.
Okay, so the big tell here when it comes to mail-in ballots is they never get into details about how it makes more security or better. It's all about just higher participation, more people voting. That's just the de facto. Zero consideration ever about who or some of the safety measures, or, you know, you have to go in and opt in and then it sends a message to your phone, like 2-step verification. So we know.
Right. But you won't have to stand in line. You won't have to stand in line, Taylor.
And their arguments for mail-in balloting are why we're going to end up voting on a blockchain here pretty soon, right? Yeah. It's going to be like voting from your cell phone. Anyways, pretty crazy. It looks like over at Hard Lens Media, he's going over the Nick Shirley stuff. The same exact spot in the video that we had with the lady. Like, ice. That was a real stunning part of the video. And I wanted you guys to listen to that young man earlier, because the Zoomerwaffen crowd is something we really have to be concerned about, because they're not looking at policies right now. They're looking for results, and they're not going to vote for a party that doesn't get results. And at the end of the day, the Democrats get results because they do what they do. And even if the result is burn it down faster, if you're not going to fix the problem, why prolong the pain? That's the attitude. And yes, is it do you control the outcome of a revolution? No. Do the conservatives have a plan for the other side? No. Do the Bolsheviks? Yes. Okay, they've got a plan. All right, guys, that's it for us today on the public side. We are going to jump over to the private. We are going to hear about a little bit about the Epstein timeline drama, and we're also going to hear a little bit about women in Iran and one of the problems with when we fall for when people call us Islamophobic. We're going to see how that has real world effects. Okay, so we'll talk to you guys over here in the private.